Here's where the magic begins. This is years of trial, tears, blood, sweat, and frustration. I have to tell you that that is almost a perfectly cooked chicken. I don't think I could do much better myself. Oh, I did it myself. Hi, my name is Jonathan Waxman. We're at Barbuto restaurant in the West Village, and we're gonna be making my roast chicken with salsa verde and my kale salad. Roast chicken is probably our most popular dish. In a fairly normal week, we'll do 700 orders of chicken. The main ingredients in the dish are Mr. Chicken: salt, pepper, a little olive oil. So the first thing we do is we take off the wing. You want to just go right through the chicken, and we save these for family meal. Now, the next step is I'm gonna break the wishbone in half. Do you hear that? Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut right through the top of the chicken, right on top of the breastplate. And there's two sides of this breastplate. And I'm always cutting towards the bone, not away from it. And this is the tricky part here. You have to articulate where the wing hits the breast. And the knife should just find it. As we go down, I'm disengaging the leg, articulating it out of its joint, literally pulling it out. And we're going down here, and that's exactly one portion. You see all the fat right here? When you cook it, you want to get the fat to boil. That's how you get crispy skin. The biggest question I ask, do I brine my chickens? Well, the only brining that I actually do is this. We use Malden sea salt. You see how I'm salting it? I'm not salting it down low. Everybody salts too low because you don't get a proper layer of salt. And the same thing, fresh pepper, and a good amount. And then I just pat it in, flip it over, and do the same thing the other side. And sometimes I'll just add a little bit of olive oil so that the salt will adhere to it. There's two rules of thumb. The first rule of thumb is how much it weighs. So it weighs approximately 1.5 pounds. I think it needs 8 to 10 minutes, a half pound. So 3.5 pounds at 8 minutes is 24 minutes. So we're ready to cook. That oven behind me is 450. This is where the magic is, right here, this spoon. We've been in exactly 6 minutes. And what's happened, the chicken has already started to render its fat. So what it's doing is getting super heated fat directly to the skin. That does all those things you want. It makes it crispy, but it also forms a layer. The skin becomes sort of a cooking vessel unto itself. I'm doing it about every 5 minutes or so, but you don't have to. 3 basting sessions is probably enough. See the bubble right there? That little bubble? That's a beautiful thing. The fat has changed color. It's starting to become more clear, and it's now starting to smell like roast chicken. Now you can see this is getting to the point where at home you'd probably think it's getting pretty good, right? That's where most people stop, and that's wrong, because we're gonna get darker. We want more color. There's a couple of indications that this chicken is just about done, and you can see that it's exuding that albumin out the side here. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's pumping. The skin is actually pumping. We're gonna let these rest for 12 to 15 minutes. Then we're gonna take it back out, and I'm going to flip them over and put them back in, because I wanna get some color and some heat to the bottom of the chicken. As a chef, we beg, borrow, and steal. We're just plagiarists. When I came to Los Angeles in 1978, and I ate at this restaurant in La Cienega, and they had this great grilled chicken with French fries. Michael McCarty, who I went to work for at Michael's restaurant in Santa Monica, said, let's steal that dish, and that's exactly what we did. But we had no idea what we were doing because we were like kids. We didn't know how to steal dishes, so we had to make up stuff. So this is how I made it up, but I changed it over the years. This is an evolution over 45, 50 years of my doing this. All right, we're gonna be making salsa verde. Now, there's 2 kinds of salsa verde. Well, actually, there's many salsa verdes. The border in Mexico, salsa verde is actually a tomatillo salsa. Not to be confused, which is the European salsa verde is what we're making today. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting the garlic in half, I'm taking out the top, and I'm exposing the germ. And that's the thing that causes indigestion and bad flavor. Next, we're gonna put in some red pepper flakes, a pinch, some salt, a pinch. We're going to do about 8 turns of fresh pepper. Next, we're gonna put in some capers, about the same amount, about a tablespoon. So the trio is garlic, capers, and anchovy. These have been cured, obviously, in olive oil, and you want a little bit of that anchovy oil to go in there as well. And then we take our pesto and we just crush gently, not too much. And then I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and now I'm gonna stir. And I'm smashing this as I'm going. This is a very satisfying thing to do. Now let's add the herbs. So let's start with some chives. If you grind the chives, they turn bitter. Now let's do a little arugula. I like using Italian parsley, what we call long leaf parsley. And the last thing we're gonna put in, we have some tarragon, and now this is the fun part. And you wanna pour just a little bit of oil in, and just stir it up. And all of a sudden it just starts releasing all its flavors. And then we're gonna taste it. Now there's one thing that I don't always add in, which I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna add a little lemon zest, okay? We're gonna make the salad now, and we sell almost as many kale salads as we do chicken. Actually, we maybe sell more kale salads than we do chickens. We have garlic, same process as we did before. We're gonna take the core out, the germ out. We're gonna start with a lemon. We're gonna zest the lemon. We're gonna put about a half a lemon in here. There is a controversy about the next step here. To egg or not to egg. If you don't wanna do eggs, you don't have to do eggs. I like the egg part of it, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. All right, a little salt, a lot of pepper. So then Parmesan, about a tablespoon. Anchovy is delicious. And smash this up, and you make a slurry out of this. So we'll add a little bit of basil now. Gently add the olive oil. Now, this is the emulsification process. The same way you make a mayonnaise, you're making the dressing by adding oil gently from the beginning. So to make the breadcrumbs, you cut the bread very thinly. I just kind of pile it up on top of each other, kind of smash it in here. Here's a fun trick you can do. You could add the cheese right directly in the breadcrumbs. This is breaking the rules of the recipe, but who cares? Now this is called dinosaur kale. Don't ask me why it's called dinosaur, because I have no idea. Here's the trick. We're gonna add all the kale right into this bowl here. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of lemon juice, and I'm actually gonna add some of the breadcrumb mixture in as well. The other I'll use for garnish, okay? And then I have the dressing. Now you crush it. So what we're doing is we're infusing the kale with all the lemon, basil, olive oil, garlic, anchovy, salt and pepper, and we're actually cooking the kale. I think it's kind of the quintessential perfect salad. Now we're ready for chicken. And we're gonna add a little extra flavor to the salsa verde. The way we cut these up, always use a fork. If you don't want to touch the chicken, we're going to cut it in half this way, and then I'm gonna cut it right through the bone here. Put it back here, and I'm gonna let it rest on the platter because the platter's hot. For one person, we cut it right down the middle and put that right inside of the filet. And then the thigh, we're gonna put right in front, and the leg I'll put right in the middle. While I'm doing that, I'm actually gonna put a little bit of wine in each of these dishes. Do anything you like. You can put tequila in, I don't care. Scrape up some of these juices. I'm getting all those wonderful flavors from the cooking. I'm gonna add that right into the salsa verde. So the way we salsa it, this is about 3 tablespoons of sauce. What's interesting about this dish is that it tastes like chicken, which sounds kind of stupid and silly, but real at the same time. Too many people try to mask chicken in crazy sauces and different herbs and fruits, and you end up something that doesn't taste like chicken. This tastes like chicken. I have to tell you that that is almost a perfectly cooked chicken. I don't think I could do much better myself. Oh, I did it myself. I think chicken sort of is synonymous with what the word restaurant means. And the word restaurant means to restore one's spirit. That kind of sets the pace for both restoring your spirit, you know, physically, but also spiritually. And I think chicken is kind of normal for that situation.